Welcome to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. A pleasant hello and good afternoon, my friends, as we'll have a 6A Region 1 District 2 matchup here tonight from Nathan Dunsky Field, as it will be the San Angelo Central Bobcats with a record of 7-10-1 on the season and 2-1 in district play, as they'll take on the Midland High Bulldogs, as the Bulldogs with a record of 10-5 on the year and 0-2 in district play. As for the Bobcats, they are directed by 10th-year head coach Patrick Henry, and for the Bulldogs, they are directed by 3rd-year head coach Jeremy Mueller, who has a record of 38-24 and has won 61% of his games. So the Bobcats are now on the field as they complete their final warm-ups. As for the pitcher, it will be right-hander, a junior, James Plackey. He'll make his 4th start of the season. Plackey has a 2-0 record on the year and a 2.16 earned run average. Let's quickly give to you the defense for the Bobcats here tonight. Hart is in left field. Snelson is in center field. Handmeister is in right. Delore is at the hot corner at third base. Abbott is at shortstop. Cowley is the second baseman. Price is at first, and the battery will be Sampson behind the plate, and Plackey will be on the hill. Plackey on the season has pitched in 16 2/3 innings as he will make his 4th start today. He has allowed only 12 hits on the year, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, and 15 Ks on the season. A beautiful day here today at Nathan Dunsky Field. 82 degrees is our temperature here in San Angelo today on a bright sunny day, as the wind is blowing directly in from center field to home plate. As for the Bobcats, as the home team, they are dressed in their blue jerseys with the white pants, and for the Bulldogs, as the road team, they are dressed in their dark black jerseys. So we're underway here from Nathan Dunsky Field, as Jesse Hernandez, the second baseman, will lead it off for the Bulldogs. As for Midland, 10-5 in this regular season, and here is the first pitch of tonight's game. Is a fastball, which is up and in for ball 1. As our game time first pitch, 5:59 Central Standard Time. As for Plackey, works from the stretch. Here is the 1-0 pitch, is a called strike on a breaking ball on the inside edge at the inside corner, and the count's 1 ball and 1 strike to Jesse Hernandez. Just underway from Nathan Dunsky Field. Here's the 1-1, is a called strike on the outside edge. Hernandez will be followed by Jacob Urias, the shortstop, and then Trick Pierce, the designated hitter. The top 3 in the lineup against James Plackey. From the stretch, here's the 1-2 pitch, is fouled back behind home plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. Well, for the Bobcats, they defeated Odessa Permian 2-1 in 11 innings on Saturday in that tournament up in Lubbock. But they lost to Friendship 10-7 in the second game. Here's the 1-2 pitch, as the fastball is up and in. The count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And in that win, Diego Lagunas for the Bobcats, he had 12 strikeouts in 8 1/3 innings. Here's the 2-2 on its way. Swinging a fly ball into shallow right field. Twisting foul down the right field line, and the count's still even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. As Lagunas, in his 12 strikeouts on Saturday, he only had 4 walks. As Thomas Obermiller, he collected a win as he pitched 1 inning, struck out 1, and walked a batter in that contest up in Lubbock this past weekend for the Bobcats. Here's a 2-2 pitch on its way. Fastball's a called strike 3 on the outside edge as Hernandez goes down looking, and that is the first out in the frame. Strikeout number 1 for James Plackey, the junior. And this brings up the shortstop, Jacob Urias. Urias climbs into the right side of the dish. 1 out, bases clean. Top half of the first. We'll play 7 today. Here's the first pitch. The fastball's up and inside at the letters for ball 1. In that game on Saturday, Kyson Snelson had 2 hits and an RBI. From the stretch, here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's in there for a called strike. And that evens the count at 1 ball and a strike. as Landon Howley drove in the other run for Central in that contest in game one. Here's the 1-1 pitch, swing, and it's laced into left field for a base hit, which drops in front of Hart. So Urias with a one-out single into left field. So for Midland, they get their first runner on base, and now this brings up the designated hitter, Trick Pierce, as Pierce is a right-handed batter. 1 on, 1 out, top half of the first. No score, just underway here from Donsky Field. As for the Bobcats with this 7-10-1 record on the year. Here's Pierce, and that's a slow curveball, which is high and in for ball 1. In game 2 on Saturday, Dylan Abbott had 4 hits and 3 RBIs, and Caden Hemmeister had 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Pierce is a designated hitter, stands deep in the box. 1-0 is to count. Working against junior James Plackey, as Plackey is a junior in his 4th start of the season. As this Central team, they are 2-1 in district play. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's fouled back to the screen, and it counts even at a ball and a strike. Glad that you're with us here on Concho Sports Network, as we'll have, in addition to the game today, we'll have the Lakeview game on Saturday at 12 o'clock. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Pierce. Runner on first. There goes the run. The pitch is low and outside. To throw it on to second is not in time, and that is a stolen base for the Jacob Urias, the shortstop, and he's on second base in scoring position. And now the count is now 2 balls and a strike to Trick Pierce. Here in this top half of the first, no score. A runner in scoring position for Midland, for the Bulldogs. Just underway. Plackey, as he takes a look at the runner at second and steps off the rubber. Well, going back to last Thursday for the Bobcats, they lost twice in that tournament, as they lost to Canyon Randall 6-2 in game 1 and Lubbock Coronado 11-1. Here is the 2-1 pitch, and that is laced down the right field line, drifting foul out of play, and the count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Meanwhile, on Friday, for the Bobcats, they lost to Lubbock Cooper 5-3. And, of course, on Saturday, they split their 2 games. So, overall, in that weekend tournament, they were 1-4. As for the Bobcats, they were also outscored in that tournament 33-15. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Pierce with Urias at second. And there's a throw back to the second base bag. As for Central, had a chance to talk to head coach Patrick Penry before today's game. He talked about that he's excited that his team is here playing at home today. And he's looking for a strong start by Plackey, his junior pitcher. He said that the key for Plackey is to keep it low in the strike zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count. Here's a curveball, swinging a ground ball to the third baseman as he taps out the runner and throws over to first. And that is we have a runner out at third, so we have 2 outs, and the runner is safe at first base. So a ground ball to Delore over there at third, and he tags out the runner. So Urias is out halfway between second and third, so that is 5 unassisted on the play for the second out. And the runner is safe at first, so that will be a fielder's choice as he's on first base. So here is Pierce Mackey, the first baseman. 1 on, 2 outs. And here's the breaking ball called strike down the heart of the plate. So Urias is out as he was tagged out by Delore at the right in front of the third base bag, and Pierce is on first due to the fielder's choice. As for Mackey, 0-1 is the count as a left-handed batter in the top of the first. Here's the 0-1 pitch. A fastball's up and away. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count. No score. Just underway from Nathan Dunsky Field as the Central Bobcats are back at home today on this Tuesday evening. And here is the 1-1 pitch, swinging a ground ball, which goes right past the glove of the first baseman Price, which rolls down the right field line and advances to third base. All the way is Pierce. So Pierce would go to third base on a ground ball down the first base line. Gets past Price, and it rolls down the right field line. And looks like we'll see if that will be ruled. If that will be ruled as an error or a hit down the first base line, as the ball just rolls underneath the glove of the first baseman Price.
Number 5, Landry Walls.
This brings up Landry Walls, the catcher for the Bulldogs. So now for Midland, they have runners on first and third. 2 outs, no score, and the Bulldogs are now threatening here. As for Landry Walls, he is a right-handed batter as the catcher. Runners at the corners, 2 outs, no score. And a fake throw over to third base. As for the Bobcats now, trying to prevent a run in this top half of the first. As Plackey works from the stretch and is ruled as an error. And there is the pitch. Breaking ball is up and in at the letters for ball 1. So that was ruled on an error. Error charge to the first baseman. So in this frame for the Bobcats, against the Bobcats defense, 1 hit and 1 error. No score. 1-0 is the count on Landry Walls, the catcher. And there is the pitch. The 1-0 is a called strike on the outside edge. And it's now 1 ball and 1 strike. As for Midland, once again, a 10-5 record on the season, but 0-2 in district play. Landry Walls stands deep in the box from the right side. Here is the 1-1 pitch, swinging a fly ball into right field. Meister, and the ball goes over his head, and a run scores. Pierce scores, and advancing all the way to third base is Mackey, and give Walls a 2-out RBI double into right field, which scores Trick Pierce, and for Midland to have an early 1-0 lead. So that was a long fly ball over the head of the right fielder, Meister. It appeared that Meister was playing shallow with 2 outs, but the ball sails over his head, which allows Trick Pierce to score. And advancing to third base is Pierce Mackey.
Number 6, Jacob Smith.
As Jacob Smith is now the pinch runner for Midland. He stands at second base now with a great opportunity for another run. Here is Michael Lujan, and now here's a ground ball to the third baseman, DeLauer. Throws high over to first. It sails over the first baseman's head, Price, and a run comes in to score. Mackey scores, and also Walls scores, and that's now quickly 3-0 in favor of Midland. So Lujan with a ground ball to the third baseman. That's an error on the third baseman, so that's the second error by the Bobcats in this frame. The throw over the first was high as 2 runners come in to score. So for actually Smith and Mackey score for Midland. As for Lujan, he is being replaced now by a pinch runner. Ground ball error. That's the second error in this game for the Bobcats. This brings up Jake Cunningham, the right fielder. So at one point, the Bobcats with 2 outs with a runner on. Now they have scored, the Midland Bulldogs, they've scored 3 runs so far in this top half of the first, and the first pitch is a called strike. Swing and a miss, strike 1 to Jake Cunningham. This is the start that for the Bobcats they were not looking for, down 3-0. Jake Cunningham is the batter. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fastball, swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes. And a runner on second base for the Midland Bulldogs. As for Midland, searching for their first district win in this 2021 campaign. Lackey from the stretch and brings home the 0-2 pitch. Fastball, swing and a miss as Cunningham strikes out to retire the side, but not before Midland. They scored 3 runs on 1 hit and 2 errors, and the runner was left stranded at second base. At the end of a half inning, it is Midland 3, and the Bobcats will come up to plate. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. options. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex, 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Bestex Supply or Bestex.com.
Angelo.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. As for Midland in that top half of the first, they put on some damage against the Bobcats as they scored 3 runs on 2 hits and 2 errors against the Central defense, but left a runner stranded against starting pitcher James Plackey. So here comes now the Bobcats, now in a hole to lead things off in this last half of the first, and this brings in Kyson Snelson, the center fielder. He is a right-handed batter as Nelson comes into today's game sporting a .403 batting average with 25 hits and 5 knocked in. And for the Bobcats, they're looking for some base runners here to begin things here in this last half of the first. Here's the first pitch to Snelson, and it's a breaking ball called strike on the inside edge. As Snelson will be followed by Handmeister and then Dylan Abbott in the top 3. And now here is the 0-1 pitch. It's fouled back to the screen. No balls and 2 strikes. The starting pitcher for the Bulldogs is senior Weyershausen. Weyershausen is 3-0 on the season. He is a right-handed pitcher. Had a chance to briefly talk to him before today's game, and he was in good spirits. Here's the 0-2 pitch. A fastball is up and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. As talking with also Jeremy Mueller, he says that Weyershausen is a good kid. He's a hard worker. There's the 1-2 pitch, which is lifted into the first base side, and running over is the second baseman, Jesse Hernandez, as Hernandez makes the catch on the infield dirt for out number 1. So for Kyson Snelson, he pops out to the second baseman, Jesse Hernandez, near the first base side. 1 up, 1 down. This brings up the left fielder, Caden Handmeister, as Handmeister is the left fielder. Handmeister on the season sports a .309 batting average on the year. And on the first pitch, he grounds that one foul wide of third for strike 1. Handmeister, in addition to his .309 average, have 17 hits and 9 knocked in. 1 out, bases clean last half of the first as the Bobcats trail Midland by a score of 3-0. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball is low and away for ball 1. Folks, we are live streaming Central and Lakeview baseball and softball twice a week through April. As this Saturday, March 20th, we'll have a rare matinee game at 12 o'clock, and that 1-1 pitch is fouled out of play, as the Lakeview Chiefs baseball team will take on Sweetwater. So watch at 12 o'clock noon right here on ConchoSports.com, the Concho Sports Network, Roku, and Fire TV apps, YouTube, and Facebook. There's the 1-2 pitch. A fastball is upstairs, and that evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Handmeister. Handmeister is the left fielder for the Bobcats. As for Central trailing 3-0, here's the 2-2 delivery on its way, which one hops in front of the plate, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, talking with Bobcats head coach Patrick Henry, he said last year that his team only played 1 game, of course, before it was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and that is a called strike 3 as Handmeister strikes out on the called third strike. And we have quickly 2 outs here in this Central first, and this brings up the shortstop, Dylan Abbott. As Abbott, he leads the team with 12 RBIs in this young campaign, sporting a .276 batting average and 16 hits on the season. So Abbott is the shortstop, and here is the first pitch when that is laced into shallow right field, and that is a caught catch was made there by Pierce Mackey to retire the side. So for the Bobcats, they go down in order 1, 2, 3 in that last half of the first. So at the end of 1, our score, it is Midland 3 and the Bobcats 0. We'll pause for a quick break, and we'll be right back in just a moment. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Arrow Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month. with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now head into the top half of the second. As for Midland, they have a quick 3-0 lead over the Bobcats. Leading off for Midland in this top half of the second against junior James Plackey would be Ryan Parker, the center fielder. He'll be followed by Luke Ingram, the left fielder, and then Jesse Hernandez, 8-9-1 in the Bulldogs lineup. Here is Parker on the first pitch. It's a ground ball up the middle, base hit into center field. So for Parker on the first pitch, as he laces that baseball up the middle into center field for a base hit, and for the Bulldogs, that is now hit number 3 in this contest. As for Plackey, he has struggled so far in this game. He has only retired 2 out of his first 8 batters in this game. This brings up the left fielder Luke Ingram. Ingram climbs into the left side of the batter's box. One on as he squares up the bunt, punches it right up the middle, fielded by Plackey, and throws over to first in time for the out. Round ball to the pitcher on the comebacker. 1-3 on the play for the Bobcats defense as Ryan Parker advances to second base. So 1 out, 1 on, and the Bulldogs second. This brings up Jesse Hernandez, the second baseman, who struck out swinging in that top half of the first against James Plackey. As Plackey struggled in the first, as we mentioned, as he gave up 3 runs in that frame with 2 hits, but he was not helped out as the Bobcats defense committed 2 errors in that initial frame. Hernandez on the first pitch takes it's a called strike as he did go around. Now it's a strike for Hernandez as he tried to hold his swing there. Strike 1 is the count to Jesse Hernandez here in this top half of the second as the Bulldogs lead the Bobcats 3-0. 0-1 is the count, working against James Plackey. And now he brings home the 0-1 pitch, of which one hops in front of the plate. Nice scoop up there by Sampson, and the count's even at 1 ball and 1 strike. In talking with head coach Patrick Penry earlier, for 2019, their last full season, the Bobcats finished 24-14-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch, which is line foul down the right field line. Out of play, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And in that season, they were 8-2 here at Dunsky Field, 9-4 on the road, and 7-8-1 in neutral sites, and 8-4 in district play. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count, and now here is the pitch to Hernandez. Check swing foul back to the screen behind home plate. And the last time that these two teams played was back on February 26th. Of 2019, as Central won that contest 10-3. And today they trail 3-0. As for the Bobcats, trying to come back here early in this game. Here's the 1-2 pitch, swinging a high pop fly out of play as Sampson sheds the mask, but the ball goes beyond the playing area, and the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. As for Central, in that 2019 season, they had a 5-game winning streak from Friday, April 19th through Friday, May the 3rd. Checking the runner at second base, and here is the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, swinging a high fly ball into left field as Hart is there at the left field line as he makes the catch, and now they'll double up the runner, and the runner is safe at second base. So a long fly ball as Hernandez flies out to Hart in deep left field. What a great catch there by Hart near the left field wall down the line. And hustling back to the second base bag is Ryan Parker, just in time. So now there are 2 outs here in this top half of the second. And this brings up the second baseman, Jacob Urias. As Urias in the first, as he hit a single to left field, stole second. And he was forced out at third base back in the first inning. So Urias is 1 for 1. As we have 2 outs here in this Midland top half of the second. A runner on second base, Ryan Parker. As for the Central Bobcats, now in a deep hole, even though it's early, it's 3-0 in favor of Midland here in this top half of the second. So this brings up, once again, Jacob Urias, the shortstop,
Now batting for the Bulldogs,
who singled the left back in the first. As for Midland, they have 3 runs on a total of 3 hits in this game.
Hamlin caught it. Abbott caught it, and then he tried to flip it to Kelly, which he didn't need to.
There's the first pitch from Plackey, fouled back off to the right side. 0-1 is the count to Jacob Urias. Well, the most runs that Central scored in that 2019 season was 16, back in a 16-0 shutout win back on Saturday, February the 23rd. So it seems like a long time ago when you talk about that 2019 campaign. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Urias. Fastball sails up and in for ball 1. 3 runs on 3 hits for Midland, but for Central, no runs on no hits and 2 errors for the Bobcats as they're trying to get something going here in this game tonight. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Urias, and that is fouled out of play, first base side, and the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. 325 down the left and the right field lines here. 360 in the power alleys and 390 in straightaway center field. Here from Nathan Donsky Field. As for the Bobcats, playing home today, here's the 1-2 pitch. Swinging the ground ball to the second baseman, Cowley bobbles it, throws over to first in time for the out to retire the side. But for Midland in the second, they had no runs on 1 hit, 1 man left. As we'll go into the bottom half of the second, our score, it's Midland 3 and Central 0. We'll take a short break. This is Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo, our
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. As for in this game, Central, they trail by a score of 3-0. As we'll go into the last half of the second, there'll be Price, Ramon, and then Cowley. 4, 5, and 6 for Central as they are trailing 3-0 against Weyerhaeusen, as Weyerhaeusen retired the first 3 batters in the Central lineup in the bottom half of the first. So here now is Strouder Price, as Price is a junior first baseman. As for Price on the season, he has a .333 batting average with 11 hits on the year and 3 knocked in. As Price is a right-handed batter on the first pitch, he takes a strike at the outside edge. Quickly, once again, for the Bobcats on defense, Handmeister is the left fielder, and Hart is in right field. That was Handmeister with a great catch earlier in the frame down the left field line into the corner moments ago. Here's the 0-1 pitch, which is lifted into straightaway center field as Parker is there, and Parker is there to make the catch for out number 1. So Price flies out to Ryan Parker in center field. 8 unassisted for the Bulldogs defense, and this now brings up the designated hitter for the Bobcats now with 1 out.
Designated hitter, number 24, Ryan Ramon.
Ryan Ramon up to the plate. Ramon sports a 162 batting average with 6 hits and 2 knocked in on the season. And Ramon on the first pitch as he lifts that into up the first base line as the first baseman, Pierce Mackey, makes the catch in foul territory first base side for out number 2. So Ramon pops out to Mackey, foul ground first base side. So quickly 2 up and 2 down in the Bobcats second. And this brings up Landon Cowley. Cowley is the second baseman for Central. Cowley on the year has 4 runs knocked in, 12 hits, and a 273 batting average on the season. As Cowley is the second baseman, now climbs into the left side of the batter's box. As for Central, they trail by a score of 3-0. 3 runs on 3 hits, no errors for Midland. No runs on no hits, 2 errors for Central. Those 2 errors were committed in the top of the first as Midland scored 3 runs in that top half of the first frame. Here comes Cowley up to the plate. As for Weyershausen, he has retired the first 5 batters here tonight. And here is the first pitch. That is a breaking ball low and away off the plate for ball 1. Hey fans, we like to watch Concho Sports Network games on your TV live in high definition. All you have to do is install the CSN Roku or Amazon Fire TV app. You can install them now on either device just by searching Concho Sports. We invite you to check it out for the best viewing experience. 2 balls and no strikes is to count to Cowley. And the 2-0 pitch is in there for a strike. And it's now 2 balls and a strike. As for the Bobcats, they are searching for their first hit of this game as they've committed 2 errors. Here's the 1-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball to the second baseman, Hernandez. Sidearm throw to first is in time to retire to side. 3 up and 3 down for the Bobcats in this last half of the second. So at the end of 2 complete, our score, it is Midland 3 and Central 0. We'll take a short break. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now cruise into the top half of the third with our score. It is Midland leading Central by a count of 3-0. And for the Bulldogs in this top half of the third against junior James Plackey, it will be Trick Pierce, the designated hitter, Pierce Mackey, the first baseman, and Landry Walls, the catcher. The heart of their lineup, 3, 4, and 5 against Plackey, as Plackey has struggled, but calmed down in the second. He's retired 5 out of 11 batters so far today. Here's the first pitch to Pierce, swinging a ground ball to the shortstop, Abbott. He bobbles the ball, and the runner is safe. So Pierce hits a chopping ground ball to the shortstop, Abbott. Abbott fields to his left, but is unable to pick up the baseball. And that, we'll see how that will be ruled. Should be ruled as an error, for correct. Yes, that is an error. Error on the shortstop, Abbott. So for Central, that is now their third error of the game. So here now is Pierce Mackey. Mackey reached on an error committed by Price in the first and scored. As for Central, 3 errors in this game. Here's a breaking ball, chopped foul. As now the runner advances to second base. That's now a swing and a miss as the catcher, Sampson, was unable to handle the baseball. So that is a stolen base for Pierce. He's on second base. And it's 1-0 is the count to Pierce Mackey. As for Central now, trailing 3-0, but for Midland with a runner in scoring position. Here's the 1-0 pitch, breaking ball, swing and a miss, and the count's even at 1 ball and 1 strike to Pierce Mackey. Pierce let it off as he reached on an error by the shortstop Abbott, stole second, and for Midland, they now have a runner in scoring position once again. Top half of the third, nobody out, as Central trails 3-0. Here is the 1-1 pitch, swinging a ground ball to the second baseman. Cowley throws over to first in time for the out, and advancing to third base is Pierce. 4-3 on the play for the Central defense as Mackey grounds out to the second baseman Cowley. Now this brings up the catcher, Landry Walls. Walls hit an RBI double to right field and scored in the first. He is 1 for 1 today. 1 out, runner on third, top half of the third. Midland leading by a count of 3-0. But for Central, 3 errors in this contest. Here's the first pitch to Walls, which gets past Sampson, which rolls all the way to the backstop, but the runner holds. 1 ball and no strikes is the count to Landry Walls. As we take a look at the upcoming Central schedule after today's game, on Friday, March 19th, the Bobcats will travel to Midland. That will be a 6 o'clock start. And then on the day after, on Saturday, March the 20th, Midland will come here for a 1 o'clock game here at Donsky Field. And then next Tuesday, March 23rd, the Bobcats will travel to Midland Christian. That's a 6 o'clock start. Here's the 1-0 pitch as Walls lifts a high fly ball into shallow right center field. Nelson is there, makes the catch. Tagging up from third base is Pierce. And Pierce slides in and he scores. And it's now 4-0. So that's an RBI there for Walls as scoring from third base is Pierce. And it's now 4-0 Midland. So we have 2 outs, bases clean. And this brings up Michael Luan as the third baseman reached base on an error back in the first.
21, Michael Luan.
So for opportunity there for the Bobcats to get Pierce at home. But defense has been the problem for the Bobcats today as they have committed 3 errors in this contest. Now here is the pitch to Luan. He takes the fastball caught strike at the outside edge. Runs in this game by Midland by Pierce. He has scored twice. Mackey has scored, and also Walls as well for the Bulldogs. As for Central, they're still searching for their first hit. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes. So far in this frame, Midland, they have 1 run on an error against the Bobcats defense. No balls and 2 strikes is the count to Luan, and here is the 0-2 delivery, which is low and away with the off-speed pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Handmeister is the left fielder. Nelson's in center, and Hart is in right. The infield, DeLure is at the hot corner third base. Abbott is the shortstop. Cowley is at second. Price is at first. Here is the 1-2 pitch. Scooped up from the dirt there by Sampson, the catcher. The count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. As for James Plackey, in his 4th start, 2-0 in the regular season, but with a 1.16 earned run average. And 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count as he brings it to him. Here's a 2-2, which one hops once again low in front of the plate. 3 balls and 2 strikes. As Jake Cunningham, the right fielder, waits on deck for the Bulldogs. As they have pushed 4 runs across in this game so far in the top half of the third. Plackey from the stretch, and here is the 3-2 pitch. Swinging a chopper foul right in front of the Bulldogs dugout, and the count remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. For the Bobcats, after that game on March 23rd, they will wrap up the month of March on Tuesday, March 30th, as they'll travel to Friendship. That game will start at 4:30 Central Time. Here's the 3-2 pitch. A fastball is up and in at the letters. Ball 4, and a walk, a 2-out walk issued by Plackey. And for Plackey, that is his first walk given up in this game. So now for Midland, leading 4-0 with a runner on first base. This brings up Jake Cunningham, the right fielder. As Cunningham, so far today, he is 0 for 1. He struck out swinging to retire the side back in the first. As we talk about meanwhile, how about the Lady Cats? They have some upcoming softball games, as next Tuesday, March 23rd, they'll play Permian at 7 o'clock. And then on Friday, March 26th, it's a 6:30 game against Midland Lee.
17, Jake Cunningham.
As Jake Cunningham, he's 0 for 1 today. He struck out swinging to retire the side in that first inning. 4-0 is our score. The Bobcats trail. Top half of the third. 2 outs with a runner on first, Luan. Here's the first pitch. A fastball's busted high and inside at the letters for ball 1. For the Lady Cats, later on in the month of March, on Tuesday, March 30th, they'll play a 7 o'clock game against Abilene here at home. Here's the 1-0 pitch. A fastball is a called strike down the heart of the plate. 1 ball and a strike. And then they'll begin the month of April. On Thursday, April the 1st, a 7 o'clock game against Friendship. So we'll have some great action here for you in San Angelo for Bobcats baseball and Lady Cats softball. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball, swing and a miss, and Cunningham is now in the hole. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 4 runs on 3 hits, no errors for the Bulldogs. No runs on no hits, 3 errors for Central in this top half of the third. 2 outs, runner on first. Here's the 1-2 pitch, fouled back behind home plate off to the right. And the count's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Great day for baseball here in San Angelo. Game time temperature at 82 degrees. The wind is blowing straight in from center field to home field. Here's the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss as Cunningham strikes out swinging. And a strikeout for Plackey. And that is his 2nd strikeout. Make that now his 3rd strikeout of the game. So for Midland in the 3rd, 1 run on 1 error. And 1 man left and no hits. As we'll go into the last half of the third, our score, it is Midland 4 and Central 0. We'll pause for a quick break. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Best Tech's also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Best Tech's 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttechs.com.
Angelo, our
Bottom of the third base.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll cruise into the last half of the third. As for Central, that is Delore. On the first pitch, he fouls it out of play. First base side for strike 1. As the Bobcats third baseman will be followed by Sampson, the catcher, and then Hart, 7, 8, and 9, and the Bobcats lineup as they trail 4-0. 3 errors has been the difference in this game. Fouled back, no balls and 2 strikes to Delore. As on this season, he only has 1 at-bat, so this is his 2nd at-bat on the year. Working against Weyerhausen. Weyerhausen has retired all first 6 batters he has faced, as the 0-2 pitch is an all-speed delivery outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. 3 up and 3 down for Central in the first, and also the same thing in the second against the senior pitcher. Here's the 1-2 pitch. A fastball's up and in at the letters. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count. Folks, we are live streaming Central and Lakeview baseball and softball twice a week through April. This Saturday on March the 20th, we'll have a rare matinee game at 12 noon. Here's a ground ball to the third baseman, Luan, as he throws across the diamond in time for the out, number 1. So Delore bounces out to the third baseman, Luan, and that is 1 out here in the Bobcats third. So watch at 12 o'clock noon right here on ConchoSports.com, the Concho Sports Network, Roku, and Fire TV apps, YouTube, and Facebook. So we'll have the Lakeview Chiefs on this Saturday, March the 20th at 12 o'clock against Sweetwater. Here now is Reed Sampson, the catcher, his first at-bat in the game as he takes low and away for ball one. As for Sampson on the season, he has a 130 batting average as he has 3 hits on the season, 2 RBIs, and 23 at-bats. And the 1-0 pitch is low and away for ball two. 1 out, nobody on for the Bobcats in the last half of the third. Weyershausen has retired the first 7 batters today. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Breaking balls in there for a call strike. 2 balls and a strike to Sampson. Well, for Midland, the Bulldogs, last year they finished 6-7 before their season was ended by the COVID-19 pandemic on last March the 12th. Here's the 2-1 pitch, which is low and away, and now runs the count 3 balls and a strike. Last season, as for the Bulldogs, they were 2-2 on the road as they scored 83 runs in total and allowed 88. So they played close to 500 ball last season, and after today's game, they will play a 4-game homestand starting Friday as Central will make the trip up to Midland on this Friday the 19th. And then Permian, they will host Permian for 2 games on Tuesday, March 23rd, and also on Saturday, March the 27th. And then we'll wrap up their 4-game homestand on Tuesday, March the 30th against Odessa. 3 balls and a strike is the count to Sampson, and the 3-1 pitch is inside for ball 4. And that is the first base runner in the game for Central and the first walk issued by Weyershausen. So now 1 out, 1 on in the Central third.
Right fielder,
and this brings up the right fielder, Garen Hart, as Hart has 2 hits and 2 at-bats this season for Central. As for the Bobcats, searching for base runners now as they trail once again by a score of 4-0. 4 runs on 3 hits, no errors for Midland. No runs on no hits, 3 errors for Central. Here's a quick throw over to first as for Sampson as he dives back to the bag on his hands and knees. As we're talking about that season by Midland, as they had actually a 3-game winning streak from March 7th through March the 12th. Here's the pitch to Hart as he fouls it back to the screen behind home plate. As for Central, once again, 7-10-1 on the year and 2-1 in district play, led by 10th-year head coach Patrick Penry. 0-1 is the count to Hart with a runner on first. That's Sampson. 1 out last half of the third. Here's the 0-1 pitch. When a scoop up and a quick throw over to first, and back to the bag is Sampson. Nice backhanded attempt there by the catcher, Landry Walls, on that snap throw down the first base line, and the count's even at 1 ball and 1 strike. For the Bulldogs, last season, the most runs they scored in the game was 17, and their 9-1-9-run win against Andrews back on March the 7th, the final score was 17-8. Here's the 1-1 pitch, breaking ball, swing and a miss, 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. Meanwhile, the most runs they allowed in one game was 13 when they lost by 11 runs, 13-2 to Eastlake from the Irish School from El Paso back on February the 27th. Weyershausen works from the stretch. Gets the signals from Walls. Here's the 1-2 pitch. A fastball's low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bobcats, of course, needing base runners here. Playing here at home. As for Midland, Jeremy Mueller, he's in his 3rd season as head coach, and he's had great success in his short time at Midland. He has won 61% of his games. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count, and a quick throw to first as Sampson dives back to the bag. As, for example, for head coach Jeremy Mueller, in his first season back in 2019, Midland finished 22-12. Of course, last year was the shortened season due to COVID-19. Here's a 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, called 3rd strike, and Hart goes down looking for out number 2, and that is strikeout number 2 in the game for Weyershausen. 2 outs, runner on first base for the Bobcats in this last half of the third. This brings up senior center fielder Kyson Snelson Snelson popped out to the second baseman, Jesse Hernandez, to lead things off in the first. He is 0 for 1. And so far this season, the Bulldogs are 10-5. So in 62 games as a head coach, he has won 38 of those games. Now here is a long throw over to second, and the runner is safe. A stolen base there for Reed Sampson. That is a ball for Snelson. 1-0 is the count to the center fielder. So for the first time today, the Bobcats now have a runner in scoring position as Sampson swipes the bag. As we take a look at the replay, the throw was high. So for the Bobcats now with a chance to get a run across, as Snelson on the season with a .402 batting average, has 25 hits on the season and 5 knocked in. Here's the 1-0 pitch, which is low and inside, and the count now runs 2 balls and no strikes. Handmeister, the waits on deck for Central, the left fielder. Here with 2 outs in the last half of the third. 4 runs on 3 hits, no errors for Midland, no runs, no hits, and 3 errors for Central. And here is the 2-0 pitch, which is low and away for ball 3. Sampson's on second. He walked. The first walk issued by the Midland senior pitcher, and then later stole second base. As Handmeister, the left fielder, he is 0 for 1 today. So for Central, they'll go into the heart of their lineup if Snelson's able to get on. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Right down the pipe, and that is, they'll call that as a ball, low and inside rather. Ball 4, so that's the second walk issued now by Weyershausen. 2 on, 2 outs. Now this brings up the left fielder, Caden Handmeister.
Left fielder, number 23, Caden Handmeister.
Handmeister, once again, is 0 for 1. He struck out back at the first. So for the Bobcats now, since we have 360 in the power alleys, if Handmeister's able to get something going here, maybe could bring in both runners. Here with 2 outs in the last half of the third as Central trails 4-0. Handmeister on the first pitch, swinging a ground ball, base hit down the third base line. Rounding third is Sampson. He will score. And rounding third is Snelson, and he will also score for the Bobcats. And now they're right back into it. It's 4-2. So Caden Handmeister on the first pitch hits a double, 2-run RBI double down the third base line, which scores Sampson from second and Snelson from first, and it's now 4-2. And for Central, that is their first hit of the game.
Now batting for the Bobcats, shortstop, number 13, Dylan Abbott.
This brings up the shortstop, Dylan Abbott. Abbott today is 0 for 1. He popped out to the first baseman, Pierce Mackey, to retire the side in the first. So the Bobcats, they finally put some, not only 1 run, they put 2 runs across, and they cut the deficit to a half. Now they could cut it to within 1 if Abbott's able to get on. Swinging a ground line drive into center field, but Parker is there to make the catch to retire the side, but not before the Bobcats to get back into the game with 2 runs on 1 hit and 1 man left. At the end of 3, our score, it is Midland 4 and Central 2. We'll take a short break. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Pro Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now head into the top half of the fourth as the Bobcats have cut the lead to within 2. It's now Midland 4 and Central 2. For the Bulldogs, 4 runs on 3 hits, no errors. They have left 3. And for Central, 2 runs on 1 hit with 3 errors and have stranded 1 batter. So for Midland to begin things here in this top half of the fourth, it will be Ryan Parker, the center fielder. He'll be followed by Luke Ingram, the left fielder, and then the leadoff man, Jesse Hernandez, the second baseman. So 8, 9, and 1 for the Bulldogs lineup against James Plackey. And now here's the first pitch. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. As Parker today is 1 for 1, single to center field, but was left stranded at second base back into second. So far through 3, Plackey has retired 8 out of 16 batters. Here's the 0-1 pitch, swinging a ground ball to the third baseman, Delore, as he throws over to first in time for the out. As the third baseman makes a good play, as Parker grounds out the third, 5-3 in the play for the Central defense. As for James Plackey, so far, he's pitched 3 1/3 innings, has allowed 4 runs on 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, and a walk so far, and has retired 9 out of 17 batters today. This brings up the left fielder, Luke Ingram. Ingram is the left fielder. He's 0 for 1. He grounded out to Plackey back in the second inning. And the first pitch, he takes a called strike. 0-1 is the count to Ingram, as he's the left fielder for Midland in this top half of the fourth. Here's the 0-1 pitch, swinging a ground ball foul, wide of third, no balls and 2 strikes. Hey fans, we'd like to watch Concho Sports Network games on your TV live in high definition. All you have to do is install the CSN Roku or Amazon Fire TV app. You can install them now on either device just by searching Concho Sports. We invite you to check it out for the best viewing experience. Here's the 0-2 pitch, fouled back to the screen as the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Well, for the Bobcats earlier in this month, they defeated Odessa High back on Tuesday, March the 9th, by a 4-1 score, as James Plackey, he was the Bobcats pitcher in that game, pitched 5 2/3 innings. Here's the 0-2 pitch, a fastball's busted high and inside at the letters for ball 1. In that game, Plackey allowed 1 run, scattered 3 hits, and struck out 4 batters in that contest. Here's the 1-2, and that is low and inside. The count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And in that game back on March the 9th, Kyson Snelson was 3 for 4 and had a double. As for Central, they notched their 6th win of the season at that time. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss as Ingram strikes out swinging. And for Plackey, that is now strikeout number 4 in this game. So now we have 2 outs in the Midland fourth, and this now brings up Jesse Hernandez, the second baseman. Hernandez is 0 for 2 today. He struck out in the first and fly to left in the second. That was a great catch by Hanmeister in the left field corner. Now on the first pitch, he lets a fly ball into right center field as the center fielder Snelson makes the catch to retire the side. So for the first time today, Midland, they go down in order 1, 2, 3 against James Plackey. As we'll go into the last half of the fourth, our score, it is Midland 4 and Central 2. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex, 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo, our
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union here in San Angelo, as we'll now cruise into the last half of the fourth as the Bobcats now down by 2, 4-2 in this contest in the last half of the fourth. 4 runs on 3 hits, no errors. 3 men left for Midland. 2 runs on 1 hit, 3 errors, and 1 left for the Bobcats. This brings up the first baseman, Price, Strouder Price. He is 0 for 1 today. He flied out to center back in the 2nd inning. And here is the first pitch, breaking ball, swing and a miss, working against Weyershausen. Weyershausen on the day has retired 9 out of his first 12 batters and has allowed, once again, 2 runs and a hit. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Fastball is low and away, and that evens the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. Price will be followed by Ramon, the designated hitter, and Cowley, the second baseman, 4, 5, and 6 in the central lineup against the senior right-hander from Midland. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball is low and away from the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Nice backhanded there by Walls, the catcher, as he backhands the catch near the first base line. 2 balls and a strike is the count. Here's the 2-1 delivery, swinging a ground ball, chopping foul off the third base line, and the count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. As for Price, entering today's game, he now has a .332 batting average with 11 hits and 3 knocked in. As Price calls time as he steps away from the right side of the dish. As for the Bobcats, the big point of the game in which they started rather shaky in the first inning. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball is up and in at the letters, and the count runs full. As for Central, they have committed 3 errors in this game, but they have able to battle back as they scored 2 in the last half of the third. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swing at a high pop fly. Shallow center field. Parker runs in, but it is the shortstop, Jacob Urias, as he makes the catch in shallow center field for out number 1. So give credit to the shortstop, Urias, as he makes the catch in front of the center fielder, Ryan Parker. 1 out in the Bobcats' 4th, and this brings up the designated hitter, Ryan Ramon. As Ramon today, he is 0 for 1. He popped out to the first baseman, Pierce Mackey, and foul ground first base side back in the 2nd. And the first pitch, he takes a strike there. 0-1 is the count to Ryan Ramon, the designated hitter. Ramon on the season has a .161 batting average with 6 hits and 2 knocked in. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to the Bobcats designated hitter. As for Central, here at home, trailing 4-2. Here's the 1-1 pitch, swing and a fly ball lifted into center field. Ryan Parker drifts back as he drops the ball, and rounding first base and going to second is Ramon, and the throw is not in time, so that figures should be an error on the center fielder as Ramon hits a fly ball into center field. Parker just drops the baseball in center field and then allows Ramon to advance all the way to second base. So that's the first error committed by the Midland Bulldogs today. So 1 out, runner on second in scoring position. And for Central, now with a chance to cut the deficit to within 1, and that brings up Landon Cowley. Cowley, the second baseman, he grounded out to the second baseman to retire the side in that 2nd frame. So he is 0 for 1. Cowley is a left-handed batter here in the last half of the 4th, and here's the first pitch is up and away for ball 1. As for Cowley on the season, he has a .273 batting average, 12 hits on the year, and 4 knocked in. Last half of the 4th from Donsky Field. Great day for baseball on this Tuesday afternoon, and the 1-0 pitch is in there for a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. It is spring break for the San Angelo Central Scholars. So a great week for perhaps maybe to catch up, maybe to read ahead for the young students on this spring break. Here's the 1-1 pitch. A fastball is up and away. 2 balls and a strike. Of course, we all remember last year during the spring break time that the spring break was extended for another week due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And then after that, the Scholars had to spend the rest of the year through online studying. Same situation that happened at the Angelo State University campus here in San Angelo and pretty much throughout the country. 2 balls and a strike is the count to Landon Cowley, the second baseman, 0 for 1 today, as DeLauer waits on deck, the third baseman. Bobcats trail by 2, 4-2. A chance to cut the deficit to within 1 here with 1 out in the 4th. Here's the 2-1, and that is low and inside, and the count now runs 3 balls and a strike. Well, since today is March the 16th, On this date in baseball history, back in 2006, actually 15 years ago, at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the New York Mets commenced live broadcast of Sportsnet New York. Here's the 3-1 pitch, which is lifted into the right side of the infield as the pitcher, Weyershausen, is there as he's able to make the catch for out number 2, one unassisted as Cowley pops out to the pitcher.
Third baseman.
2 outs with a runner on second, which is Ramon. This brings up the third baseman, DeLauer. DeLauer is 0 for 1. He bounced out to the third baseman, Luan, back in the third to begin the Central third inning. DeLauer now climbs into the right side of the batter's box. As the Mets, they modeled the team-owned network after other teams adopted the same practice. Guess who began that practice? And on the first pitch, which is lined into left field for a base hit, drops in front of Ingram, and stopping at third base is Ramon. So a 2-out single to left field. And for the Bobcats, that is now hit number 2 in this game. So DeLauer singles into left field, and Ramon advances from second to third base. So we have 2 outs. Last half of the fourth, runners at the corners for Reed Sampson, the catcher. Sampson walked in the third, stole second, and later scored. He scored the Bobcats' first run in this game. Other teams that adopted that practice was the Boston Red Sox. They created Nesson back in 1984. Can't believe it's been that long ago, 1984, as the Red Sox brought in Nesson. And, of course, the New York Yankees with the Yes Network in 2002. Here's the first pitch to Sampson, popped up on the foul territory as the pitcher, Weyershausen, is there to make the catch to retire the side, but not before. For Central, they get 1 hit and they leave 2 runners stranded and an error by the Midland defense. So we'll go into at the end of 4, complete our score. It is Midland 4 and Central 2. We'll pause for a quick break. This is Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo RO Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now head into the top half of the 5th for Midland. They lead by 2, 4 runs to 2. 4 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, 3 runners left for the Bulldogs. And for Central, 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 errors, and they left a runner stranded. And now for Midland in this top half of the 5th against James Plackey, as Plackey is still on the hill as he goes into his 5th inning of work. It will be Jacob Urias, the shortstop. He'll be followed by Pierce, the designated hitter, and then Mackey, the first baseman. 2, 3, and 4 in the Midland lineup against Plackey, as Plackey has retired 11 out of his first 19 batters today. Here's a slow curveball, which is up and away for ball 1. Urias today, he is 1 for 2. He singled to left but was caught out at third base in the first and grounded to second in the second. Here's the 1-0 pitch, swinging a pop fly shallow right field. Hart is there as he makes the over-the-shoulder catch for out number 1. As Urias flies out to Hart down the right field line in foul territory, near close to the foul line. And we have 1 out in the Midland 5th. This brings up Trick Pierce, the designated hitter. Pierce has scored 2 runs as he reached base in the first and scored, and reached base in the third, error committed by the shortstop Abbott, and scored in the third. So Pierce has scored 2 out of the 4 runs this afternoon for Midland. As Pierce climbs into the right side of the batter's box. As we talked about earlier about what happened 15 years ago in baseball. But here's the first pitch, ground ball, base hit into right field. So Pierce laces that baseball into right field on the first pitch. And for the Bulldogs, that is now hit number 4. So we have 1 on, 1 out in the Midland 5th. This brings up the first baseman, Pierce Mackey. As Mackey today, he reached base on an error and scored in the first, grounded out to second in the third. Well, prior to that, cable superstations provided extensive coverage of certain baseball teams. For example, WTBS had the Atlanta Braves, as they covered the Atlanta Braves exclusively in the 1980s and the 90s. Led by Skip Carey. Skip Carey is the son of late Hall of Fame broadcaster Harry Carey. And WGN with the Chicago Cubs, well, of course, with long-standing broadcaster Harry Carey and also analyst Steve Stone. Steve Stone was a Cy Young winner with the Baltimore Orioles back in 1979. Here's the first pitch to Mackey, and that gets away from the catcher Sampson and advances into second base as Pierce. So now for the Bulldogs, they now have a runner in scoring position, and 1-0 is the count to Pierce Mackey. And also a very young Tom Brenneman. Tom Brenneman is the son of legendary Cincinnati Reds broadcaster Marty Brenneman. Here is the 1-0 pitch, and that's a called strike at the inside edge, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Marty Brenneman has been broadcasting the Cincinnati Reds games going all the way back to the early 1970s. And one would never believe one of the broadcasters for a short stint for the Reds, here's the 1-1 pitch that's fouled back to the screen, 1 ball and 2 strikes, was Al Michaels. Al Michaels called games for the Cincinnati Reds for a season in 1972 during the early onslaught of the Big Red Machine. Of course, the Big Red Machine with Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, George Foster, those great players. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that's a off-speed delivery high and away, and it counts even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Going back to WGN, they also had a broadcaster by the name of Jim Durham. Jim Durham was the longtime voice of the Chicago Bulls. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that is up and away. And that now runs the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. So an amazing group of broadcasters working for the superstations. WTBS in Atlanta, WGN in Chicago. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and that is in there for a called strike. And Mackey goes down on the called third strike, so that is a strikeout for Mackey. So they're now quickly 2 outs here in the top half of the 5th, and for Plackey, that is now K number 5 in this game. So now for Plackey, strikeout number 5, and this brings up Landry Walls, the catcher. He is 1 for 2 today. In his last at bat, he had an RBI fly ball to center field on the first pitch. He takes a strike. In the first, he doubled to right field and scored an RBI double in the first. That was win for Midland. They scored 3 runs in that top half of the first. At one point, they led 3-0 and then 4-0 before Central scored 2 runs in that last half of the third. And now for the Bobcats, only down by 2, 4-2 here in this top half of the 5th. 2 outs, 1 ball and a strike is the count with a runner on Pierce at second base who singled and stole second. Here's the 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, going back to Jim Durham quickly, Jim Durham was the longtime voice of the Chicago Bulls from 1973 to 1991, and he called many of the epic Michael Jordan years, the early Michael Jordan years. Here's the 1-2 pitch, fouled back to the screen. And for WGN, for the White Sox, they had broadcasters such as Ken the Hawk Harrelson and Tom Paciorek. As Ken Harrelson was a baseball player for the Boston Red Sox, and they made a pretty good team, the Hawk and the Whimperoo in Chicago. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that one hops in front of the plate as Sampson gets the ball as he moves to his right, and it counts even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a young Tom Brenneman, I did have a chance to meet Tom Brenneman several years ago in Charlotte, and I had a chance to thank him. I said, Mr. Brenneman, I just want to thank you for giving me many years of enjoyment of watching and listening Chicago Cubs baseball. And he said, Herman, you must have been 3 years old at the time. Here's a 2-2 pitch. It's a called strike 3 on the outside edge. Strikeout number 6 for James Plackey, and that will do it for Midland in the top half of the 5th. And for the Bulldogs, no runs on 1 hit, 1 man left. We'll go into the last half of the 5th. Our score, it is Midland 4 and Central 2. We'll pause for a quick break. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttex.com.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo RO Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now go into the latter half of the 5th. As for the Bobcats, they trail by 2, 4-2. For Midland, 4 runs on 4 hits, 1 error. They have stranded 4. And for Central, they have 2 runs on 2 hits and 3 errors, and they left 1 runner stranded. And due up the bat now for Central in this last half of the 5th, as they have several more opportunities in this game. It is Hart, the right fielder. He'll be followed by the leadoff man, Snelson, and then the left fielder, Henmeister. So for Central, 9-1-2 in the Bobcats lineup, working against Weyershausen, as Weyershausen has retired 12 out of 17 batters in this game. So the first pitch is fouled away. Hart in today's game is 0 for 1. He struck out. Looking back in the 3rd, he is 0 for 1. As for the Bobcats, they scored both of their runs in that last half of the 3rd. Swinging a ground ball to the second baseman, Hernandez picks it up, fires over to first, and time beats him by a step for out number 1. As Hart grounds out to the second baseman, Jesse Hernandez, 4-3 on the play for the Central. On the play for the Midland defense against Central on offense. This brings up the center fielder, Kyson Snelson, the senior. As Snelson on today, he popped out the second and the first and walked and scored in the 3rd. As for Central, Snelson along with Sampson, they've scored runs in that last half of the 3rd to get Central back into the game. Snelson is a right-handed batter, waves through that low outside breaking ball for strike 1. As for Central, in this game, 3 errors, 2 hits in the contest. Now working from the stretch. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Grounded foul wide of 3rd. Now Snelson's quickly into the hole. No balls and 2 strikes is the count. Folks, we are live streaming Central and Lakeview baseball and softball twice a week through the month of April. On this Saturday, March the 20th, we will have a rare matinee game at 12 o'clock as the Chiefs baseball team will take on Sweetwater. So watch at 12 o'clock. Here's swinging the ground ball. Right side of the infield, fielded by the pitcher, throws over to first in time for the out. Quickly 2 outs in the Central 5th, 1-3 on the play for the Midland defense. So you can watch that game at 12 o'clock noon right here on ConchoSports.com, the Concho Sports Network, Roku, and Fire TV apps, YouTube, and Facebook. Here now is the left fielder, kidding Henmeister. Henmeister on the day is 1 for 2, and the first pitch is in there for a strike. As Henmeister in his last at-bat hit a 2-run RBI double to left field. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Is up and away for ball 1. And that double scored Sampson and Snelson in that last half of the 3rd to get Central back into the game, because prior to that, They trailed 4-0. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball once again as low and inside for ball 2. As Hemmeister on the season has a .310 batting average with 18 hits on the year and now has 11 knocked in. Here's the 2-1 pitch. He waves through the breaking ball, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Great day once again for baseball here in San Angelo. Compare that to the weather we've had in the San Angelo area the last several weeks, in which the scholars here at Central, as they had to delay school due to the water situation and also due to the winter storms we've had here in Texas, and now they've had spring break, so it's been a rather long semester for the scholars here at San Angelo Central. As we now have 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Handmeister, as Handmeister also played on the football team for the Bobcats. And time is called as the head coach, Jeremy Mueller, is now talking things over with the home plate umpire. Jeremy Mueller has been brilliant as the head coach now in his 3rd season. He has won 61% of his games with a record of 38-24. As for head coach Mueller, had a great start in 2019 as his team finished 22-12. Of course, last year was the pandemic as they only finished 6-7. They could not finish their season. And so far this year, they are 10-5 and searching for their first district win with that 0-2 mark. So it looks like that Kaden Hemmeister will now climb back into the right side of the box. We'll reset the scene for you. We are in the last half of the 5th. 2 outs, nobody on, as the Bobcats trail 4-2. Hemmeister is a right-handed batter. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that is just outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. 4 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, 4 runners left for the Bulldogs of Midland. 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 errors, and 1 runner left for Central. Here's the full count pitch, and that one hops in front of the plate for ball 4. So that is now walk number 3 issued by Weyershausen today. A 2-out walk, and this brings up the shortstop, Dylan Abbott. Abbott is 0 for 2 today, popped out to the first baseman Mackey to retire the side in the 1st, and flied out to the center fielder Parker to end the frame in the 3rd. So Abbott, he is 0 for 2 with a .274 batting average on the season. And here's the first pitch to Abbott, swinging a high pop fly, foul ground first base side. Giving chase is Mackey, and that will bend out of play, and that's now no balls and a strike is to count to Abbott. As Abbott on the season has 16 hits and 12 RBIs as he leads the team with those 12 RBIs, but Handmeister is right behind him. Handmeister with 11 as he brought in 2 earlier in the game. Once again back in the 3rd with that 2-run RBI double to left field to score Sampson and Snelson. As for Abbott, right-handed batter, and a quick throw to first as Handmeister dives back to the bag. As for the Bobcats, they have a runner on first with 2 outs. In the last half of the 5th, we'll play 7 innings, of course, today. As for the Bobcats, in this 5th, they still have an opportunity. As they trailed from the outset, 3 runs, they allowed 3 runs in the 1st, and also a run in the 3rd to make it 4-0, but Central, give them credit, they have climbed back to make this very interesting here in this last half of the 5th. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Sidearmer is low and away, and it's now 1 ball and 1 strike is the count. It's a good sign that we have great weather here today in San Angelo. Game time temperature at 82 degrees, and the wind is with a steady blow into home plate. And now the pitch goes all the way to the backstop. That 1-1 makes it 2-1. And advancing to second base is Handmeister, and Handmeister is now in scoring position for the Bobcats. So a single here by Abbott could make it a 4-3 contest if he could hit the ball into the alleys. 325 and down the left and the right field lines, 360 in the power alleys, and 390 in straightaway center field here at Nathan Donsky Field. As for the Bobcats, this is, of course, their home baseball field. As for Central, 7-10-1 on the year, 2-1 in district play. They desperately need a win here on this Tuesday. Weyershausen works from the stretch as he gets the signals from Walls with a runner on second base. And here's the 2-1 pitch, and that is low, and the count is now 3 balls and a strike. 2 outs in the Central fifth, runner on second. Handmeister with a walk and later advanced to second. As the first baseman, Strowler Price, waits on deck for Central in this last half of the fifth. Great crowd on hand today at Donsky Field. It's great to see the fans supporting the Bobcats here on this Tuesday evening. A little windy, but it's a great day to take in a ball game. 3 balls and a strike is the count to Abbott. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and that is in there for a called strike with the all-speed delivery. All-speed breaking ball. That's now 3 balls and 2 strikes to Abbott. As Abbott was trotting down the first base line as he was searching for a walk. 4 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, 4 runners left for the Bulldogs. 2 runs, 2 hits, 3 errors for Central. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the full count pitch, and that is lifted into right field as Cunningham is there, the right fielder, as he makes the catch to retire to side. And in the Bobcats' fifth, no runs, no hits, 1 runner left at second base. At the end of 5 complete, our score, it's Midland 4 and Central 2. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now head into the top half of the 6th, as James Plackey is still on the hill for Central. And through 5 innings of work, he has retired 14 out of 23 batters, and he has pitched after 5.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor.
Up the bat will be Michael Luan, the third baseman. He'll be followed by Jake Cunningham, the right fielder, and Ryan Parker, the center fielder. 6, 7, and 8 in the Midland lineup against the right-hander for Central. On the first pitch, here's a ground ball to the third baseman, DeLower, as he throws across the diamond in time for the out number 1. As Luan, as he grounds out to his counterpart, and for Central, 5-3 on the play on their defensive side. So now Plackney now quietly has retired the last 3 Midland batters, dating back to that 1 out in the top half of the 5th, as Pierce, as he singled into right field. So this now brings up Jake Cunningham. Cunningham, the right fielder, he is 0 for 2 today. He struck out twice in the first and also in the third, and he waves through that breaking ball, strike 1. Jake Cunningham is the right fielder, as he's searching to get on base as his team leads 4-2 in this top half of the 6th. From Donsky Field, here's the 0-1. Fastball is the called strike. 1 ball. Now check that. No balls and 2 strikes, rather. No balls and 2 strikes to Cunningham. As Ryan Parker, the center fielder, waits on deck. Cunningham is in the hole. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Fastball is up and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, of course, my friends, today is Tuesday, March 16th, and celebrating a baseball birthday today is Curtis Granderson, as he played for the Detroit Tigers and the New York Yankees. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball blown away, backhanded by Sampson to his right to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Granderson turns 40. He played 16 years in the major leagues in a career from 2004 through 2019. Here's the 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, swing and a miss as Cunningham strikes out swinging. And for Plackey, that is now K number 7. And Cunningham is now 0 for 3. He has struck out all 3 times today. 2 outs, bases clean here in this top half of the 6th. This brings up Ryan Parker, the center fielder. Parker is 1 for 2 today. He singled to center field back into second. Was left stranded at second in that second frame. Here's the first pitch. Is a slow curve, which is high and inside for ball 1. Parker also grounded out to third in the 4th, so he is 1 for 2 today. Plackey now is finding his rhythm. He's now retired the last 4 batters in this contest. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball, swing and a miss, and the count's even at a ball and a strike. 4-2 Bulldogs, 4 runs on 4 hits, 1 error for Midland. 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 errors for Central. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count to Parker. Blackney from the stretch. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking balls in there for a called strike at the inside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, Granderson, he had his best season with the Yankees back in 2011 when he scored 136 runs. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss as Parker strikes out swinging, and now does strikeout number 8 for Plackey in this game. So for Midland, they go up in order, 3 up and 3 down in the top half of the 6th. So our score, it is Midland 4 and Central 2. Bobcats have 2 more chances. We'll take a short break. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now head into the last half of the 6th. As for Central, they'll now come up to bat down by 2. 4-2 is our score. 4 runs on 4 hits, 1 error for Midland. 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 errors for Central. As for the Bobcats, as they'll have their big hitter, one of their big hitters, Strowther Price, the first baseman. Price will be followed by Ramon, the designated hitter, and Cowley, the second baseman. 4, 5, and 6 in the Central lineup against Weyershausen, who has retired 15 out of 21 batters today. Here's the first pitch, is a slow curveball, low and away for ball 1. Price today is 0 for 2, flat out to center field in the second and popped the short in the 4th. Here's the 1-0 pitch, breaking ball, swing and a miss, 1 ball and 1 strike. It's the count to the first baseman. Well, we talked about Granderson moments ago, who celebrates today birthday number 40. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's a called strike at a inside edge at the knees, 1 ball and 2 strikes. In that 2011 season, Granderson had 119 knocked in as the Yankees finished 97-65. Time is called. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count to Price, the first baseman for the Bobcats. But the Yankees in that season, they lost to Detroit in the American League Divisional Series 3-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that is a fastball low and away, and the count's now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Granderson, he belted 41 home runs that season in that 2011 season. Here's the 2-2 pitch, swinging a high pop fly, left side of the infield, as the pitcher, Weyershausen's there as he makes the catch. So Price pops out to the pitcher, 1 unassisted on the play for the Midland defense. So now we have 1 out in the Central 6, and this brings up the designated hitter, Ryan Ramon.
Number 24, Ryan Ramon.
Ramon today popped out to the first baseman in the second, reached on an error as the center fielder Parker just dropped the baseball. Swing, and that's a line drive comebacker to the pitcher, Weyershausen, and now quickly 2 outs. So for Ramon on the first pitch, lines out to the pitcher, one unassisted. So quickly 2 up and 2 down for Central in this last half of the 6th. And this brings up Landon Cowley.
Second baseman, number 8, Landon Cowley.
Cowley today is 0 for 2, grounded out to second in the 2nd and popped out to Weyershausen, the pitcher, in the 4th. And now here's the first pitch, which is low and away for ball 1 to Cowley, the Bobcats' second baseman. 4-2 is our score as the Bulldogs lead Central. 4 runs on 4 hits, 1 error for the Bulldogs. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that is low and away for ball 2. Meanwhile, 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 errors for the Central Bobcats. 2 balls and no strikes is to count to Cowley. Last half of the 6th, 2 outs, bases empty. Weyershausen has been brilliant today as he was retired 17 out of 23 batters in this game. Now the count now runs 3 balls and no strikes. Talking about that 2011 season by the Yankees, Robinson Cano had 118 RBIs on that season. Here's the 3-0 pitch, low and away, ball 4, and that is the 4th walk allowed by Weyershausen today. A 2-out walk. Cowley's on first base.
Number 16, Gavin DeLauer.
And now this brings up the third baseman, DeLauer, for Central. DeLauer today is 1 for 2. He bounced out to the third baseman in the 3rd, singled to left center field, but was left stranded at first in the 4th. 2 outs, a runner on. Bobcats trail by a score of 4-2. DeLauer is a big player, right-hander. And now here is the first pitch is up and in for ball 1. DeLauer's a right-handed batter. CC Sabathia, in that 2011 season, he finished 19-8, and he had a 3.00 earned run average for the New York Yankees, but they fell in the playoffs that year. So a happy birthday to Curtis Granderson as he turns 40 today. 1 ball and 1 strike is to count to DeLauer, the third baseman for the Bobcats. Last half of the 6th as Central trails by a score of 4-2 from Donsky Field. From the stretch, here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, and it's now 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. As for Central, they trail 4-2, but also are being out-hit 4-2 as well. But the big difference in the game, the 3 errors by the Bobcats defense. And there's a quick throw to first as Cowley, as he slides back to the bag. 325 down the left and the right field lines. 360 in the power alleys and 390 in straightaway center field. Once again, a beautiful day for baseball here on this Tuesday. Here's the 1-2 pitch, slice foul. Out of play down to first base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes. As for the Bobcats, with this record of 7-10-1 on the year, 2-1 in district play. 1 ball and 2 strikes is to count to DeLauer, and on the 1-2 pitch, he lifts a fly ball into straightaway center field as Parker is there as he makes the easy catch to retire to side. But for the Bobcats in the 6th, no runs, no hits, 1 man left, Cowley at first, as we'll complete 6 innings here. Our score, it's Midland 4 and Central 2. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo RO Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now cruise into the top half of the seventh. Is now crunch time for the Bobcats as they trail by a score of 4-2. 4 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, 4 runners left on base for the Bulldogs of Midland. Meanwhile, for Central, 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 errors, and they have left 2 runners stranded. As James Plackey is still on the hill. This is his 4th start of the season. He has a 2-0 record and a 2.16 earned run average. And leading off for Midland in this top half of the 7th is the left fielder Luke Ingram. Ingram is 0 for 2 today as he grounded out to Plackey in the 3rd on a comebacker, and in the 4th he struck out. 0-1 is the count to Ingram. Ingram will be followed by Hernandez and then Urias. 9-1-2 in the Midland lineup, as they have 4 hits so far against Plackey. Here's the 0-1 pitch, swinging a rolling ground ball to the shortstop Abbott. Fields to his right, throws over to first, a fine throw, and gets him in time as Ingram grounds out to the shortstop Abbott on a fine throw, perhaps one of the better defensive plays we've seen in this game, as Abbott, as we take a look at the replay, backhands it and fires over to first, over to Price in time for the out. And that is 6-3 on the play for the Bobcats defense. So 1 out in this top half of the 7th, and this brings up the second baseman, Jesse Hernandez, as Hernandez today is 0 for 3 in this contest against Plackey. Here is the first pitch, line foul, first base side. Hernandez struck out swinging in the first, fly to left in the second, and also fly to center field in the outfield to Snelson back in the 4th. Hernandez is the leadoff man for the Bulldogs as they lead 4-2. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball, swing a ground ball to the shortstop Abbott. Picks it up and fires over to first. Quickly, there are 2 outs here in this Midland 7th. 2 up and 2 down. And now Plackey has retired 7 consecutive batters in a row, which dates back to the top half of the 5th. This brings up the shortstop with 2 outs, bases clean for Jacob Urias. Urias today, he is 1 for 3. In his last at-bat, he flied out to right field in the 5th. There's the first pitch, is a fastball up and in, ball 1. Urias singled to left field, stole second, was caught out at first in the 1st, grounded to second in the 2nd, and flied out to right in the 5th, so he is 1 for 3 today. Here's the 1-0 pitch, check swing, and he did go around. That's a strike. It's now 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Jacob Urias, the shortstop for Midland. As for the Bulldogs, they are 10-5 on the season, searching for their first win in district play. Here's the 1-1 pitch, breaking ball swing, hits Plackey, which rolls to the 3rd baseman, gets past the Lauer, and the runner is safe. So for Urias, he's on base. And see, will that be ruled a hit? That will be ruled as a hit. So an infield hit single for Urias, and that is hit number 5 for the Bulldogs in this game.
Now batting for the Bulldogs.
And now with 2 outs, runner on first base, which is Urias, for the designated hitter, Trick Pierce. As Pierce today, in his last at-bat, single to right field, stole second in the 5th, reached base on an error committed by the shortstop Abbott, and scored in the 3rd. And in the 1st, he reached base on an error and scored in the 1st. So for Pierce, he's been busy. He has scored 2 out of the 4 Midland runs today, with a runner on first base with 2 outs for the Bulldogs. Working against James Plackey. Plackey is a junior. Once again, his 4th start of the season. Started off shaky but settled down. Here's the first pitch, which is low and inside for ball 1. And at one point, he did retire 7 in a row before that single by Urias. 1-0 is the count to Pierce, the designated hitter. He is a right-handed batter. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball's busted low and inside for ball 2. Well, a famous player, since this is March 16th, a famous baseball player who wore jersey number 16 was New York Yankee pitcher Whitey Ford. Here's a 2-0 pitch. It's a called strike, a breaking ball, 2 balls and a strike. Whitey Ford played for 16 years for the Yankees from 1950 to 1967. And he was a great pitcher. He had a 2.75 earned run average. Here's a 2-1 pitch, which is lined down the left field line, and that is ruled foul. And it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Whitey Ford, he had a great record. He won 236 games and only 106 losses and 498 games pitched. His best season was in 1961 when he finished 25-4. How about that? With a 3.14 earned run average. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count. Fastball, swing and a miss as Pierce strikes out swinging to retire his side. So for Midland in the 7th, no runs on 1 hit, 1 man left. We'll go into the last half of the 7th. One more chance for the Bobcats. They trail by 2, 4-2. We'll take a short break. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo,
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll go into the last half of the 7th. And for the Bobcats, they have one more chance as they trail by a score of 4-2. So now up to the plate, it will be pinch hitter Caden Box, as Box will replace Reed Sampson, as Sampson finishes the game as he walked and scored in the 3rd and popped out to the pitcher in the 4th. So for Midland, 3 more outs away from a win. As for the Bulldogs, they have a record of 10-5 on the season, and they're searching for their first district win. So Box will be followed by Edward Luna, as Luna will pinch hit for Hart here in this 7th inning. So for Central, they'll have batters 8, 9, and 1. And then if any one of those batters get on, then Kyson Snelson will be the 3rd hitter in this frame. So here's the first pitch in this last half of the 7th, which is low and inside for ball 1. Caden Box in his first at-bat for the Bobcats in today's game. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball is inside for ball 2. Well, before the break, we did talk about Whitey Ford, that best season that he had in 1961 when he finished 25-4, and his number 16 jersey has been retired by the New York Yankees. Here is the 2-0 pitch, as a fastball's in there for a called strike, 2 balls and a strike. Well, that 1961 season, my friends, was a year to remember for all baseball fans. Of course, the Yankees did win the World Series as they defeated the Cincinnati Reds 4-1. Here's a 2-1 pitch, swinging a high fly ball into left field to Luke Ingram. Ingram is there, makes a 2-handed grab for out number 1. So Caden Box flies out to Ingram in left, 1 out, and the Bobcats 7th, and this brings up the pinch hitter, Edward Luna. Luna now climbs into the right side of the batter's box. So for Central, now with down to 2 more outs here in this last half of the 7th as they trail 4-2. Here's the first pitch to Luna as he rips that one foul down the 3rd base line. Well, that season, the Yankees finished with 109 victories and only 53 losses. That was the year of the famous home run chase, as Roger Maris and also Babe Ruth were trying to break the record by Babe Ruth, as Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs going back to 1927. And the pitch, and now it's no balls and 2 strikes is the count to Luna. Roger Maris finished that season with 61 home runs, of course. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Fastball's low and away, ball 1. As Mickey Mantle, he hit 54 home runs in 153 games, but due to an injury, Mantle did not finish the season, and Roger Maris, he hit his 61 home runs on the 61st home run on the final game of the regular season. And then, at the time, Babe Ruth, he hit 60 home runs in 154 games. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Luna. And the breaking ball, swing and a miss as Luna strikes out. And now for the Bobcats, they're down to their final out of this game. So Weyershausen 1 out away from a complete game, and this brings up the center fielder, Kyson Snelson.
Now batting for the Bobcats, center fielder number 2, Kyson Snelson.
Snelson in his last at-bat grounded out to Weyershausen on a comebacker in the 5th, walked and scored in the 3rd, and popped out to the second baseman Hernandez in the 1st. So for Central, their last chance here as they trail 4-2 in this last half of the 7th. Here's the first pitch. Breaking ball, swinging a miss to Snelson. So Snelson is 0 for 2 with a walk and scored a run. For the Bobcats, Snelson and Reed Sampson scored for Central in this game. Both of those runs came in the last half of the 3rd. As for Snelson, he also played on the football team, played defense, and also was a returner for the Bobcats. Now here is the pitch, swinging a ground ball, one-hop comebacker to the pitcher, lobs it over to first, and that will do it, and that will end the game. So for Central, they go down in order 1, 2, 3, and the 7th as they lose this contest. As for the Bobcats, now they drop to 7-11 on the season, 2-2 in district play, and for the Bulldogs of Midland, they improve to 11-5, and they get their first win in the district. As for Midland with the win, they finish up with 4 runs on 5 hits on 1 error. They leave 5 stranded. And for Central, they have 2 runs on 2 hits and 3 errors, and they leave 2 runners stranded. As the losing pitcher is Plackey. Plackey finishes now with the loss. He's now 2-1. And Weyershausen is the winning pitcher, as he now has improved his record to 4-0 on the season. So we'll pause for a quick break, and then we'll come back to wrap this up. This is Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. We'll be right back in just a moment with the recap.
Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo.
Welcome back to Central Bobcats Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. Our final score as the Bobcats lose here at home on Donsky Field to the Midland Bulldogs by a final count of 4-2. And for Midland with the win, they now improve to 11-5 on the season, and they capture their first win in district play as they are now 1-2 in the district. As for the Bobcats with the home loss, they now drop to 7-11-1 on the season and 2-2 in district play. As for the Bulldogs, they finished with 4 runs on 5 hits, 1 error. They leave 5 runners stranded as the winning pitcher is Weyershausen, as Weyershausen improves to 4-0 on the season as he retired 21 out of 28 batters in this afternoon's game. As for the Bobcats, they finished with 2 runs on 2 hits and 3 errors and 2 runners left, and the losing pitcher is James Plackey. As Plackey, he drops to 2-1 on the season. And for Plackey, he started rather shaky as he allowed 3 runs in the first and another in the fourth, but did settle down in the middle of the game as he retired 20 out of 30 batters in today's game. Let's quickly give you the individual numbers for Central today. As Snelson, the leadoff man, finished 0 for 3 and scored a run. Hemmeister, he was 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs as he had that double, 2-run RBI double to left field in the third to score Sampson, and also he scored Snelson and also scored Sampson in that third inning. Dylan Abbott, the shortstop, finished 0 for 3. Price, as the first baseman, he was 0 for 3 today. Ramon, the designated hitter, was 0 for 3. Landon Cowley, the second baseman, was 0 for 2. DeLower, the third baseman, finished 1 for 3. Sampson, as the catcher, was 0 for 1. And Box, he finished with 0 for 1, a bat in the 7th inning. Hart, the right fielder, was 0 for 2. And Luna was 0 for 1 in the game. So for Central, as they lose to Midland today, 4-2. Once again for the Bulldogs, 4 runs on 5 hits and 1 error. They leave 5 runners left. And for Central, 2 runs on 2 hits with 3 errors. That was the big one, the 3 big errors early in the game that really hurt the Central Bobcats today. And they leave 2 runners stranded as the winning pitcher is Weyershausen. He improves to 4-0 on the year. And Plackey is the loser. He drops to 2-1 on the season. This is a reminder that we are live streaming Central and Lakeview baseball and softball twice a week through April. This Saturday, on March the 20th, we will have a rare matinee game at 12 o'clock noon as the Lakeview Chiefs baseball team takes on Sweetwater. So watch this Saturday at 12 o'clock right here on ConchoSports.com, the Concho Sports Network, Roku, and Fire TV apps, YouTube, and Facebook, as we'll have that action for you on this upcoming Saturday from Lakeview High School. So once again, the Central Bobcats, they fall to Midland in district play. As the Bobcats with the loss, they now drop to 7-11-1 on the season and 2-2 in district play. Meanwhile, for Midland with the win, they improved to 11-5 on the year and their first district win. They are 1-2. 4-2 is our final score as the Bulldogs win. This is Dr. Herman Howard broadcasting live. We'd also like to thank Shay Harris, our producer and director of Concho Sports, with all of his hard work, help, and assistance with today's broadcast. And we'll see you again talk to you on Saturday. Thank you for watching, and good night. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, Shay. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.